let's get this party started. How does that sound? So, yeah, Christy, I said yes to Juice Plus 28 years ago. 28 years ago. I've not missed a day in 28 years. And the reason I said yes to the product was that my health was a hot mess. I was a worn down, burnt out fitness professional. The labels started showing up: chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, very rare Crohn's disease. I was told that I would have Crohn's disease and unstoppable diarrhea for the rest of my life. And I was also raising three boys. I was raising three boys with learning challenges. And 28 years ago, my phone started to ring. It was a woman in my neighborhood. She had heard about me. She knew I was struggling, and she started calling. And what's amazing? I don't know if you guys remember, but when the phone rang 28 years ago, do you know what we did 28 years ago? We answered it. Yeah, it's just bizarre. All right, there, I'm unmuted again. Okay, so 28 years ago, we would answer the phone. As a matter of fact, there was no caller ID. And so people literally ran to the phone 28 years ago, like, I'll get it, I'll get it, I'll get it, okay? And it's this woman, I didn't know who she was. She kept saying, hey, Terri, this is Martha. I heard about you. I have something that I think could help you. I must have hung up on her at least 12 times. And finally, I looked up to heaven and I said, dear Lord, she is never going to go away, is she? So I allowed her to come to visit. She walked through my front door and she was captivating and compelling, and kale in a capsule just had me. I mean, I was really struggling. I was looking and seeking for better health. She's got the message. It's fruits and vegetables in a capsule. And I said yes. And I signed on for the business the very same day. Did I have grand illusions back then about, moving through the marketing plan? No, I just know that if it made sense for me and my three boys, maybe it might make sense for friends and family. So I said yes. In the beginning, Christy, I got to tell you, that lady, Martha, she was my very, very first mentor in terms of persistent, consistent behavior. Okay. All right. That's a teaching moment right there. So we're going to hashtag go Martha. Okay. All right. So in the beginning, I was winning all these awards for retailing Juice Plus. I had tons and tons of customers, but I wasn't bringing people on board for team. And it was at a luncheon where my mentor, David Beaver, said to me, are you ready to make this your career? Boom. And I got to tell you, my first reaction was sheer fear. I mean, we could call it, I was too cool. We could call it 101 things, but at the end of the day, I was scared. I was so afraid. I wasn't good enough, strong enough, pretty enough, smart enough, fast enough. And I was so afraid that I was going to have to get vulnerable and people were going to actually come to see who Terri Loungo really was. So I thought about it. And what I realized then is that so many of us are caught in fear. And here's my description of fear. Fear wants you to run from something that isn't even after you. Write that down. Fear wants you to run from something that isn't even after you.
You know that 80% of existing US currency is in $100 bills.
Sorry, I'm trying to get her.
Hang on. I see every day.
Okay, well, thanks for that.
Sorry about that, but that's a good statistic there, Pamela. Okay, sorry about that. Go back. Go ahead.
Okay, so I made the decision. That, yeah, I wanted this for my career. And that's the next teaching moment, is I learned firsthand the power of a decision. And what I did when I said yes was that I really stepped into it. I started to think, feel, and act like a national marketing director. You would say to myself, how would a national marketing director handle this? What would a national marketing director do? I stepped into it. I owned it. And guys, I didn't come equipped to be a national marketing director. There were skills that I needed to learn, habits that I needed to develop. But this concept of making a decision, what it brought for me was that I experienced clarity like I had never experienced before. All right, and instead of being reactive, you know, I'd become proactive with every decision I made. I started to become responsible. When you make a decision, get ready. Creativity starts to show up in your life like you have never, ever, ever seen before. And that's when my desire started to plug in. First, I had to make the decision. Yes, I learned that it's indecision that is stressful in life. It's decision that'll bring you peace. I'm going to tell you, it's decision that fuels desire. And if you've ever read Napoleon Hill, what does he say? Desire is the starting point of all achievement, right? And it's that decision that's going to fuel the persistence. And sometimes persistence alone is going to help you get to that dream, that goal. It's that piece of persistence. So it's also persistence that gets you to that place of what I call scared and excited at the same time. Okay, when you're scared and excited at the same time, your creativity explodes. That's when you know. When you're scared and excited at the same time, that's when you know that you've made a decision that absolutely fuels your possibility and your potential. So it's all about the decision. So tonight I want to challenge you. Would you like to make some decisions for your life? Decisions that are based on possibility, not decisions that are based on fear, disguised as practicality. I see that all the time. Decisions based on fear, disguised as practicality. All right, so I'm going to ask you this. What would you love? Because everything I'm going to talk to you about tonight is going to set you up so that your 90 days are successful for you. So what would you love for your life? Have you ever thought about it? Have you ever thought, what would you love for your life if we could take all excuses off the table? Okay, time off the table, money off the table, skills off the table, no excuses. What would you love for your life? Get to know what you would love for your life. What would you love for your life in terms of business? Okay, what we're doing right here with Juice Plus. What would you love for your life in terms of finances? What would you love in terms of income? What would you love for your life in terms of relationships? Okay, these are the things, creativity. So let's talk for a second here about what's the big pushback that we get? You know, oh, you know, I don't want people to think that I'm selling something, right? I mean, this idea of making money sometimes I think is a stumbling block in the Juice Plus world. And you know, money it's just an idea. It's an instrument. You know, write this down. Money is a reward received for services rendered. The more value you bring to the community, the more value you bring, the more money that you will earn. It doesn't make you a better person, okay? But it does give you options of freedom and peace and joy. So the more service that you render, the more value that you bring, the more money that you will earn. So how much value do you want to bring? Make some decisions for yourself based on that information. Make some decisions about what it is that you want to be, do, and have. Step into it. If you made the decision that you want to be a national marketing director, think it, feel it, own it, start acting like you're already there. If you want to make a $10,000 a month paycheck and more, step into it, claim it, think it, feel it, own it, start acting as if you're already earning $10,000 a month or more. And these are the things that you focus on, my friends. You've heard it say that what you focus on expands and grows. Well, what if you got really clear about what it was that you would love for your life? And what if that was your singular focus, your focus on health and relationship and money and getting to the top of this marketing plan? Think, feel, and act as if you already own it. So meeting David Beavers and having him ask me, you know, have you decided that you want to make this your career? And that making that decision changed the trajectory of my life. But I found another stumbling block. The next stumbling block for me, and the next teaching moment for me, was Sean Myers at a national conference. I think I had been in the business 3 years. And you have to get, when I made the decision, Christy, that I was going to be a national marketing director, boom, that's it. I'm going to do this. I was the national marketing director 2.5 years later. 2.5 years later. Okay. I just claimed it. I owned it, and all excuses were off the table. But here's the next teaching moment. Okay. With Sean Myers, national conference. And to tell you how long ago this was, he was using transparencies on a projector. You guys don't even know what transparencies are. Okay. We'll have a private conversation later, Christy. Okay. All right. So he's using transparencies, and he puts up this transparency, and it says, you get to decide what you're going to believe, and what you believe is what you will experience in your life. And that was like cold water in my face. I had never heard anything like that before, but you guys have heard the saying that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, Sean was the teacher, and that message was what I needed to hear. Because you see, up until that point, I was still throwing the victim card, but you don't know what it was like for me. You don't know what it was like growing up in Claremont, New Hampshire. You don't know what I went through. You don't know my background. And what I've learned is that if that's your belief, and if that's what you keep putting out there into the universe, guess what's going to keep coming back to you? More experiences to feel like the victim about. So I'd like to read to you, if you don't mind, I'm going to read this. Yeah, boom. I just got a boom. All right. So this is my description of belief, and my description, because this all falls into mindset. So I'm going to read this right from my notes. Your mindset is the sum total of your beliefs, values, identity, expectations, attitudes, habits, decisions, opinions, and thought patterns. You see, we're all in thought patterns about yourself, others, and how life works. It's the filter through which you interpret what you see and experience. My friends, your mindset shapes your life and draws to you results that are an exact reflection of it. What you believe will happen, happens, okay? And if we don't question our mindset, okay, we're literally operating on autopilot. We're operating on autopilot. And so if you have the belief that life is hard, your life will be hard. And so what I've learned to do in 28 years, and I'm so grateful for the teachers that have showed up in my life because I said yes to Juice Plus, and because I made the decision to stay with this, is number one law of learning. Write this down. The number one law of learning is awareness. So you're going through the day and all of a sudden you become aware, man, there's that belief. There are those thoughts again, they keep popping up. Just by becoming aware that you're stuck in this thought pattern, do you know what will happen? You'll start to literally distance yourself from that belief and that thought, just by moving away from it and becoming aware. And do you know what the second law of learning is? Second law of learning is repetition. So you start to become aware. Oh, there I go again. Okay, I'm literally thinking that again. You become aware. All of a sudden, you start to notice it over and over and over again. And the more that you become aware that you're stuck in this thought pattern, you start to distance yourself. This is science, guys. The other way, once you become aware, if you can start then to reprogram, I know Lauren on all of her I am statements. Do you know that I am literally starts to create new neural pathways in your brain? Oh, how exciting is that? So guys, we are stuck in paradigms. Pretty much what your mother and father thought and felt while you were growing up, you have taken that on without even being aware of it. And when you start to become aware, you literally can start to distance yourself from that thought pattern. And so that to me is like so exciting. So that, thank you, Sean Myers, for introducing me to that. And that's where that quantum physics junkie comes in. You know, once I know the thought goes out, you attach an emotion to that thought, and that's what's going to come back to you. So becoming aware is so important. All right. So how do you stay on your A game? How do you stay on your A game? How do you stay in that mindset of, think, feel, act, believe, that you're going to be a national marketing director? How do you stay there? Well, guys, you have to invest heavily in yourself. You have to invest heavily in yourself, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Physically, we've got Juice Plus, and that helps us so much staying in our A game, right? Everything works better. Even the serotonin and dopamine in the brain are activated. Emotionally, being connected to this community, staying connected. You know what the number one enemy of this business is? It's isolation. Isolation is the number one enemy of this business. All right, so when you stay connected with this community, it's so important. What you're doing tonight, coming together as a community, is so important. So you don't feel like you're doing it alone. And so invest heavily in yourself. All right, I stopped watching television over 25 years ago. If you told me a show that's on ABC, NBC, or CBS, I would literally scratch my head. I have no idea what's going on in that world. What kind of podcasts do you listen to? Do they bring you down? And there's a lot of things going on today that is take your energy. Remember, your job is to manage your energy. All right, so pay attention to what you're watching, what you're listening to, the news. Again, my friends have to tell me what's going on in the world, because I literally, I have 3 friends. If there's something going on, Terri, you should really know this, okay? Because I don't watch the news. The books that I read, I just got a brand new book on fiber. Doesn't that sound captivating? But it's so much fun, okay? The company that you keep, you guys have heard this. You are the sum total of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Who are those 5 people? All right, and so, and then because if you're not hanging with the 5 people that really fire you up and support you and inspire you, then, again, that energy is going to start coming down. And we have to start letting go of the good opinion of other people, right? That's another one. Let go of the good opinion of other people. When I made my decision to be national marketing director, if I had listened to my best friend who literally got into her car, drove to my house, probably going 100 miles an hour, came to a screeching halt, jumped out of her car and said, "You don't know what you're doing. Oh my God, are you going to get involved with one of those things? Terri, this will be the worst thing that you could do." Now, she loved me. She's still a really precious friend. I had to let go of her good opinion, and I had to trust my intuition, my God-given intuition. So all of these things, the TV, the books, the people that you hang with, just remember this: as you sow in your subconscious mind, so shall you reap in your environment. Wow. Whatever you sow in your subconscious mind, the books, the podcasts, the people that you hang with, is what you'll reap in your environment. So how else do you stay in the end game? Stay excited and positive. Goals. Goals. You know what goals are for? What's the primary reason we set goals? The primary reason to set goals is for growth. The primary reason to set goals is for growth. Secondary reason is that, you have like 10,000 thoughts going through your brain every day. Goals tell your brain where to focus. That's important. But it's also goals. It's goals that create momentum in your business. Okay. All right. It's goals that help to reshape that mindset and those beliefs. It's goals that build self-image and self-esteem. It's goals that start to quiet, I call her nagness in your head, nagging all day long. It's goals. All right, so we have to create goals, and you're in this 90-day game challenge, my friends. Have you established your goal for this 90-day challenge? Have you written it down? At the end of 90 days, I am a sales coordinator. At the end of 90 days, I'm a senior sales coordinator. There we go. Somebody just posted yes. At the end of the 90 days, I'm a qualified national marketing director. That's what needs to happen. Goals are what literally are going to drive you, and they're fun. Goals are fun. All right, so decision is nothing. It's absolutely nothing unless you take action. All right, that decision that you made, that decision that I made 28 years ago, if I had not taken action, I wouldn't be here today. So 28 years ago, of course, there was no social media. We used to call it, I think Jeff Roberti talked about it, smiling and dialing. That's what we did all day long. But you know what? I always knew every single day, I was always so prepared. So I'm going to ask you, are you prepared? When you leave the call tonight, are you prepared for your activity for the week? Do you know what you're going to do tonight? Do you know what you're going to do tomorrow? Do you know what you're going to do on Wednesday? All right, that DMO, that'll never go out of style. That will never go out of style. So you have got to get prepared. All right, so that I did my business. Hey, I was raising 3 kids. When I started this business, I had 1 in high school, 1 in middle school, and 1 in elementary school. All right. And so I did my business in stolen moments. You know, there'd be 10 minutes here and I'd make phone calls because I was prepared. So action, action, action. What does that look like? You know, I love social media, but social media is never going to take the place of the sound of your voice. The sound of the human voice. It's the only thing that conveys empathy, compassion, joy, excitement, possibility. That's the sound of your voice. All right, don't let that die. All right, so the whole purpose of social media, the whole purpose of everything to me is that the end game is that it's got to take you to a conversation. So the sound of your voice. So I'm going to go old school on you. Make the calls. I text to talk. I'll leave a text message to open the door to a conversation. Text to talk. Make the calls. Do the reels. Don't expect me to do a reel, okay? But you do the reels, okay? All right, post on Facebook. Do the action. All right, start promoting for events, guys. I have a great event in Dallas. We're so excited. Okay, I rented out the studio movie grill because I couldn't find hotel space. So we're doing this movie theme extravaganza, right? And you know, we're going to stream in Stewart, we're going to stream in John Blair. I mean, on the big screen. And someone said, I know, and I'm sold out. Here's the best part. My event sold out in 24 hours. That's how ready people are to get back to community and get back to events. So whether it's at your kitchen table or at the studio movie grill, let's get into action. Okay. All right. Consistency, we talked about that. Consistency, hashtag go Martha. And I'm going to leave you with this. For me, understanding what gratitude could do. You know, when I started thinking about gratitude, I was all right here in my head. Okay. And I was writing in my journal all the things that I could think of in my gratitude journal. And then somewhere along the way, I did that so much that my thoughts of gratitude moved to my heart and they became feelings of gratitude. And I got to tell you, gratitude is what opens the gateway to the human heart. And so every day, no matter what, that's my must do. That's my must do every single day. And I did a training once where I talked about being grateful for everything happened in your past. And I remember I used to throw the victim card. And now I am so grateful for everything that happened in my past. I'm grateful for today, the present. And guys, I am grateful for what has not yet shown up in my life. So can you be grateful, all right, for that sales coordinator position that hasn't shown up yet? Be grateful for it today. Magic will happen. Magic will happen. I want to leave you with a quote from Abraham Maslow. Okay, I've studied Abraham Maslow. I love everything about Maslow. And he said, I'm going to read this. Here we go. If you are planning on being anything less than you're capable of being, you'll probably be unhappy all the days of your life. Guys, you have gifts and talents that you don't even know about yet. You are just scratching the surface. We have the most remarkable product, Richard Du Bois, Juice Plus, okay, can do in the body more than anything else can do, with or without a prescription. We have a compensation plan that rivals almost every other compensation plan out there. We have community. Look at this community. Look what Christy is doing for you. We have everything in place. So I'm going to encourage you, step up. As Lauren would say, level up, claim what's rightfully yours. Step into action, be bold, be proud, and I can't wait to see you on stage. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you. Do you have a chance? Can I just, do you have a couple minutes if I ask you a couple follow-up questions?
Sure, go ahead.
Oh my God, there's so much. I have all these pages and notes, and I'm going to have to go back and watch the recording. You guys, I'll put the recording in the 90-day level up group. And if you're not in that, I don't know if any Terry's team jumped on, I'm happy to share this with you too. Just hit me up on social media. But so many great things. And I'm part of Eric Warre's accelerator program as well. And so I pop into our 90-day run group, and I will give a little teaching of what Eric taught us that day for this 90-day run. And it's interesting, you know, success leaves clues. And so a lot of the things that you're saying, like I literally just heard from Eric yesterday, or I heard from Eric today. And yesterday's lesson from Eric was all about, conversion. So we're on day 14 of this 90-day run. And so a lot of us are really uncomfortable getting the no's. If, you know, the new people on the team are uncomfortable getting the no's. So Eric talked about shortening, you know, the time that you got to manage your disappointments. And so he said, you know, in the beginning, it was 7 days that I'd get disappointed. And then I allowed myself to have 7 hours to be upset. And then it was 7 minutes. And now it's like you said, it's like, hey, you know what? I had to have that no in order to get this to this other yes. And if you do this long enough, you start to appreciate and you're grateful for everything that happens, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I think it was today's lesson, he talked about blame, and he said that he was the king of blame. And I think that you used a different word. I forgot what you used, but it was same thing. But he said that, you know, he had I can't remember, 13 jobs from the time he was, or 21 jobs from the time he was 18 to 23. And he said once he switched, but he was the king of blame. And, you know, he graduated with a 1.8 GPA. So, but it was the teacher's fault, and it was the principal's fault, and it was his parents' fault. And same thing with all these jobs. And as soon as he took ownership, I can't remember what word did you use? You didn't say blame.
Now I'd say I would throw the victim card.
Victim.
I would throw the victim card better than anybody I knew. You don't know what it was like. You can't imagine what it was like.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, I don't think there's any coincidences that I just heard all of that, and that all of the major leaders are saying some of the same things. And the last thing that you said that Eric reinforced yesterday is if you're looking at your, seriously, when you look at your, like the 7 different ways you may reach out to people, the number one conversion way to reach out to people is voice conversation. So, you know, and it's live in person. So live in person would be number one, but we're on a 90-day run. So first of all, not everybody may be comfortable to go in person? And second of all, is it really, I mean, can you go faster doing Zoom? So Zoom or FaceTime could be the second best way to do a live conversation. And then the third way is to let them hear your voice. I'm huge on voice. I would rather do that than text all day long. And when I text, it's usually a voice.
I did a training last night and I said, stop this. Stop.
Yeah.
Okay, let them hear your voice. Whether I'm doing customer care, I want everybody to hear my voice. And you know, I coach Eric every morning. No, just
Yeah. I figured as much. I figured you two were like this. But
he calls me every morning and says, Terri, what should I talk about today? No.
Yeah, it's obvious. I'm gonna, yeah, maybe you should tell me what tomorrow's gonna be, because I know it's gonna be something you said tonight for sure. But he talked about the DMs versus text too. Text is better because text is gonna get to them a lot faster than the DMs. And I think that was a good distinction for me, that DM and text is not the same because people aren't in social media. So your point on texting to talk, texting to actually have a conversation with them is being reinforced by Eric Worre in the accelerator program, that if you want major conversion, you've got to look at all of these social media activities. We're in groups, we're DMing, we're posting on social media. That's all great. We have to do that. We have to do that. But your goal is to get those people moved over and actually have a live conversation with them. So can't thank you enough, Terri. Is there anything else you want to leave us with? You had left us with so many gems.
Well, no, I just thank you. I'm honored. I'm just honored that you asked. I was thrilled that you asked. Thank you.
I just want, can I say something real quick? Terri, that night at your house changed my business forever. You changed my belief, and I just want to thank you for that. So sorry to Christy to jump in, but I wanted to let Terri know that.
Thank you.
She changed my life, changed my business. And I was going through the worst time in my life. And she is like, I already been there, but don't let that be the excuse, Lauren, of why this stops you. So thank you, Terri, because you really were the turning point for me. So of this team going to 100 Club, it was when you had your awards framed, and I just love you very much. And Christy, you're amazing. Thank you for leading these as well. I really appreciate you both very much.
Thank you. I love you, Lauren. Thank you, honey. All right.
Yeah. I appreciate the two of you. Thank you all so much for being on here. Everybody that joined, I will have the recording of this up in a little while. So thank you so much, Terri. It's our pleasure. If we can return the favor in any way, please let us know.
Oh, I'll call you. No. All right, guys. Peace and blessings. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, feel free to come off mute and say thank you to Terri if you'd like to on your way out.
Thank you, Terri.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Terri.
Have a great evening. Hi, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Some information, Terri. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Terri.
Good night,
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night, Terri. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.